pray, amen.
Thank you. At this point, we'll face the flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much, Pastor Jackson. All right, at this point, we'll go ahead and go into roll call. That will be, I believe, started by our city clerk, Maria Contreras. So at this point.
Good evening, everyone. Buenas noches a todos y bienvenidos. Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Here.
Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco. Mayor Pro Tem Susan Rubio. Mayor Manuel Lozano.
President, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. All right, so at this point, council members wishing to close on anyone's behalf?
Yes, Mayor.
That's Councilmember
I have
Cruz Baca. Thank you.
several people, unfortunately. First of all, our condolences, and maybe we should send out a letter to the family of Officer Gregory Casillas from Pomona.
Absolutely.
And our condolences to the family and to all the officers out there that support this young man. Very unfortunate. And to keep our officers safe that are out there on the streets as I speak, and always. Also, an icon, I believe, of our city, Rudy Escalera, passed away about a week ago.
That's correct.
And also condolences to his family. He was quite an icon, and everything from coaching softball to everything that he did for our community. And long-time Baldwin Park resident, as well as Irwindale resident, her family, Isabel De La O Hernandez. She passed away last week. A dear friend of mine that I went to high school with, Nora, we knew her as Susie Harper from Baldwin Park High School, and Mayor Cynthia Sternquist from the city of Temple City, her mother passed away. So our condolences to all of the families and friends.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Cruz Baca, for noting those individuals. All right, so at this point, we'll go ahead and council members have nothing else to share. Before I go on, I just want to, first of all, thank and recognize all the individuals that participated in the homeless program and the planning that was in. I know that our council member Cruz Baca sits as a part of the COG representing Baldwin Park and multitude of different cities, and I know there's some of the individuals that are here that provided excellent detailed information on what they want to see the city and what direction we want to head with reference to the homeless, because we know it is a growing factor. We can't deny it, and it's not just in Baldwin Park, but it's throughout the county, for that matter, throughout the state of California. So we look forward in hopefully bringing a resolution to the city in the next couple of months, and of course, it's part of the fund will be through Measure H that was voted out in the County of Los Angeles. All right. So at this point, yes, Councilman Cruz Baca.
On a lighter note and a happier note, I want to congratulate Sierra Vista High School. They won the robotics contest.
Wow. Okay.
And they are going, in fact, they might have left already. I believe that yesterday they were leaving to do the national in Kansas City.
Wow.
There was a benefactor that decided to pay for the students to fly to Kansas City and pay for all their expenses so that Baldwin Park could participate in the national for robotics. Very excited for Sierra Vista High School students and all the students in our school district that are working on STEM programs, and to the teachers, parents, and everyone who participate and are so instrumental in helping these students. So thank you.
Thank you very much for
Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Also, Holland Middle School also made it to the finals, Ms. Baca. I don't know if you were aware.
Oh, wow.
They were presenting an award also, so they're also competing, Holland Middle School.
That is
Congratulations to all of the Baldwin Park School District for all the wonderful things they do.
All right. Then
Holland used to be Landis when I was there.
Yes, the old Landis.
I remember when it was Landis, yeah. You know what, and let's follow up with that, what Councilmember Cruz Baca mentioned, as well as Alejandra Avila, inviting those individuals once they're back. All right, thank you very much. So at this point, we'll go ahead and go back to our city clerk, city treasurer, excuse me, Maria Contreras. We do roll call, or do we do?
We did.
Okay, let me excuse Councilmember Susan Rubio, who we do expect shortly. So I'll make that motion. Second. Any objections? See none, so move. All right, thank you very much. All righty. So at this. Yes, and also Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco, I think we got that right. He joined us. Thank you, Vice Mayor Ricardo Pacheco. Sorry about that. All right, at this point, we're going to go in the first presentations that we have, which is recognizing March 12th, 2016, and March 12th through the 16th, 12th to the 16th of 2018 as Adult Education Week. And I believe we do have a proclamation. So, am I correct? Yeah, I think I am correct. So we have this. Oh, okay, good. They're here already. All right, so at this point, we want to recognize the Adult and Community Education Week, which goes from March the 12th through the 16th. And of course, we recognize our Baldwin Park Adult School that's so important and plays a major role in our community. I want to thank all the participants that have been a part of this great program that we have here in Baldwin Park, and it's very well known throughout the region. So, Dr. Kirk, do you want to come up here? Yes, I do. You can say some more stuff here. And Denise, and just to let everyone know, Dr. Kirk is a product of the city of Baldwin Park. Graduated from what high school? Sierra Vista. Sierra Vista High School. I was going to say BP as well. I mean, he's an excellent example of a product of Baldwin Park. Thank you. Hold on, Lenny. Hold on, Doc. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about us, Dr. Kirk. There you go.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for the proclamation. We do this every year. This is a time to recognize the importance of adult ed in the state of California, the contributions we do to the workforce, helping people get their GEDs, high school diplomas, programs for senior citizens. I would like to thank the city. We have one of the best working relationships with a city that I've seen in any adult school. It's really remarkable. We share facilities, we share programs. If you saw the slideshow at the beginning with the job fair, you saw our cosmetology students there doing services. So I would like to thank all of you for that, because if every adult school worked with every city in California, adult ed would be a lot stronger. We had an essay contest this year, which we do every year.
Yes, thank you.
Where our students share our stories of the impact adult ed has made on their lives, and I brought you copies.
Thank you.
And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
We'll go ahead and get our picture. All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kirk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Denise, too.
Yes. I want to thank both Dr. Kirk and Denise as well. They've been a team for many years. Thank all the teachers that make it happen at Baldwin Park Adult School. All right, so the next item that we have, let me go to it here. Next, the certificate presentation recognizing the winning students in the Adult Education Essay Contest. So I believe we have certificates here. Oh, Dr. Kirk, come on up here. The student's here, right? Oh, okay, great. All right, so at this point, the first one we'll call up is Melissa Jemerson from Adult Basic Education, Christina Jimenez, Career Technical Education, and also Fan Highline, Older Adult Program. So let's have all three students come up here to receive, and also Tara Armour, the Adult Secondary Education, and Laura Martinez, English as a Second Language Program. So these are the top essay contestants that we have here. Okay. Melissa Jimenez. Got it, Manny? Jemerson. Pleasure. Thank you. Congratulations. Okay, so do I go? Yeah, stand right here. And Tara? Congratulations. Thank you. Sorry. Christian? Thank you. Is that Christian? I'm actually not Christian. Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you. Long time no see. No. What's your name? Christian. Oh, Christian, okay. There you go. Laura? Hi. Where's Laura? Laura not here?
Right here.
What is your name, sir? Oh, Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you. You're in the front. Congratulations. Right in front. Let's get bigger in front. It's okay. Here. Here we go. We all fit? Come on, you guys.
A little bit tighter if possible. Okay, we have a few cameras. This one first.
Taconazo. Okay, Denise? Okay. Any other contestants want to say some words? Why not? Come on, let's go. Come on, Tara, you go first. Or, go ahead. Oh, here we go. Experience.
I come a long way. I used to. Oh, well, I'm an addict. You know, I have 18 months clean. It's not easy. You know, every day is a struggle, but I just push through it. I look at my daughters, and you know, do it for them, do it for me, because you know what? I want a better future for my daughters and myself. Because without a career, you know, you won't have nothing. You know. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you to the mayor for this award, and to my teacher who has helped me, and to everyone who's here tonight. I want to thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Chris. I also want to say thank you just to Baldwin Park Adult School. The environment there is awesome. It's a great learning place, and I want to say thank you to everybody.
All right.
This morning, when I play Tai Chi with my classmates, they all say that I deserve it, because they say, okay, we are the senior citizen, you know, the super glue for our family and our society. Yeah, if we keep the smiling face every day, okay, then we can give our free hand to those people that need our help. We just give the happy the free hand to those people that need it. So that will be better. I'm so proud that and so happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, did I forget? Oh, come on, I forgot. Come on. Sorry about that. That's right. Okay, that's the last one, right?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the teachers. Thank you for support to our students. Thank you for the members in the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my name is Mark Steimley, and I teach GED and high school diploma. And on behalf of my colleagues, I would like to also thank the city for your support. The rank and file really does appreciate everything you guys do for us. We know that you guys are an integral part of what we do every day. So again, thanks, and congratulations to all our winners.
Okay, so we'll do it tomorrow. The Morgan Park, we have a big, huge marquee. Expect your names to be on it. All right, so congratulations. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks again. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. All right, so at this point, we'll go over to the plaque presentation to the Baldwin Park Housing Authority for being awarded the Distinguished of High Performance Agency for the 5th time in 6 years. So at this point, let's bring up the Baldwin Park Housing Authority. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, come on up. Where's Mr. Gus Romo? Gus Romo, I think, is a graduate from SV as well. Oh, that's right. Susie's from BP. I forgot. How about Michelle? SV, okay. What's up, brother? Thank you. Hello. give this plaque? Where's Carrillo at? Where's Manny? He left. All right. So, where's Susan? Susie, come on up. And then Mr. Romo, come on up here, guys. All right, so at this point, we'll present you with a plaque through the City of Baldwin Park Housing Authority in recognition of your exceptional performance and commitment to providing decent, safe, and affordable housing to local residents for being awarded the Distinguished of HUD High Performance Agency for the 5th time in 6 years, 2012, 2017. Thank you. What an awesome team. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd just like to say that I'm just so grateful to be part of this team. You know, starting here in Baldwin Park, one of my favorite things has been the staff. They're just amazing. And these ladies, you know, have gone out of their way. And I just want to say, just tonight we're recognizing their hard work and commitment in helping over 500 households, not just here in the city of Baldwin Park, but regionally. I mean, the Baldwin Park Housing Authority is a lot bigger than a lot of people realize. Over 270 elderly and disabled households and 80 households with children over 17 were helped every year. And I want to give you a few more stats. An average of 10 families a year increase their income, improve their living conditions, and graduate from the Section 8 program. That's a lot to say, folks. There are also approximately 20 households currently enrolled in full-time higher education courses. So we're very proud of them. Susie? Beautiful.
I just wanted to say that I can't express how proud I am of this staff. They're caring and have a genuine passion for assisting others. When he mentions about the becoming self-sufficient, that's with the guidance and their commitment to help them to get on that road of self-sufficiency. I know I've said this before, but a few years back, this housing authority was known as having low ratings and poor audits. And at one point, receiving 8 to 10 findings through an audit was considered the norm, but not with this staff. They've not only learned from others' mistakes, but they've taken this agency to a whole different level, excelling beyond expectations. We now have regularly receiving 0 findings in our HUD audits under the program reviews. And I'm not sure if any of you are aware of this, but the 0 findings for an audit, especially from HUD, is really a big deal. So it's something that they have a lot to be proud of. And we have a highly respectable reputation with the tenants, the property owners, our local partners, and with HUD. And I know we're not perfect, but getting a perfect score 5 out of 6 times is actually pretty darn close. Mm-hmm. So on behalf of the staff and I'd like to thank you, Council, for acknowledging our hard work. Thank you.
Let's get a picture. All right, here we go. There. Hold on, Carrillo. Got it, Carrillo? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Oh, that one's yours.
One more picture with you. Nanny. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I want to be with all the famous people.
Okay. Let me go to that side of you.
Here, I'll come on this side. Oh, I thought I'm here.
Okay.
Just gotta get my picture.
1, 2, and hold it.
Thank you again.
Okay, oh my gosh. That's so awesome. He's on track and everything. Oh, good for you. Oh my gosh. Good for him. Oh, that's so awesome. Congrats. Oh my gosh. Tell him we're so proud of him. And tell him I said fight on.
All righty, thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to open up the public communication. Anyone wishing to speak, you have approximately 3 minutes. Good evening.
Hi there, good afternoon or good evening, Council, Good evening, City of Baldwin Park and Mr. Mayor. My name is Steve Chan, and I'm with the Grown Folks Incorporation. And I just want to take this time to thank you guys, show my appreciation for the consideration of a few more licenses. We've been here since the beginning. We've done everything according to the ordinance. We followed all the rules and regulations. We believe we have a beautiful property that we're still paying, high monthly dues on, an empty property. But we've been approached by a few individuals who I believe are licensed already, showing interest in our property. So for us, we just want to state that, we're patiently holding on. We're paying our dues. But we're just waiting for the opportunity to be able to pay back the city and to build our business so that we're able to pay our dues back. I also want to say that I'm pretty sure the city council is eager to bring in some more revenue for the city, and we really want to be a part of that. Our team is 100% ready to go, ready to pay our dues to the state and to the city. And like I said, we've been here, we've been patient, and we're holding on. We have a lot of faith in the city, in the city council, and everyone, and we just want to give back, and we want to thank you for considering us and following up with more licenses. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. All right, moving along with public communication. Anyone wishing to speak? Approximately 3 minutes. Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Eduardo Sauceda. I currently live at 3600 Van Wig, and I want to know how I could bring it to attention. There's a tree that's in between the yards. We already talked to the hospital that's behind that address. It's a convalescent hospital. I believe it's Ramona.
That is.
Who could I talk to about the tree coming into the area?
Well, go ahead and finish, and I'll refer you to.
Okay.
So we'll assist
and,
you in that area.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Yes,
it's
sir.
growing into other areas, and it's taking down the fence between the two properties, and basically it needs maintenance. And I will develop some pictures and present them to whoever I have to do that when you direct me to that, sir.
All right, yes, sir. All right. So at this point, Mr. Gutierrez, Sam Gutierrez, Public Works Director, will assist you in that area regarding the tree.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll follow up with that. All right, good evening.
Thomas Carey, former resident.
Thomas.
These homeless people, you seem to think that giving them more services is going to make it better. All you're going to do is bring more of them. Have you been out to San Bernardino lately? They congregate in large numbers behind businesses there. Bus stops are overloaded with these people. You see how it is in LA. Don't see that many around here, and I've been in the area all day. I've hardly seen but maybe a handful. Do you want more? Because if you give them more services, you're going to have more. And we know what they're about. Doing their business right there on the street. Needles, you name it, that's what they do. They don't want rules. They asked them at Wildwood Park in San Bernardino why they were living in the park. They asked them about the moving into housing. Oh, we don't want to live there. And they said, why? Because there's rules. These people want to do whatever they damn well please and set up shop anywhere. And if you cater to them, you're going to have more of them. The city's police have enough to contend with this marijuana stuff. So if you want more problems like San Bernardino is getting, it's a mecca over there. It's not safe to go out at night because of them being out there. They wander the neighborhood. They broke into the guy's truck next door and stole his tools right off his driveway. On his driveway. Is that what you want? You want these people patrolling the neighborhood at night, taking stuff? The recyclables isn't enough. They scan whatever else they can take. If they don't do it themselves, they use the phone that us taxpayers give to them to call their buddies and tell them where the stuff is. I think those phones should be limited to 911 only. Emergency numbers, not anything else. This catering to these people, all you're doing is making it worse. They don't want to live in a regular place. Why can't you people see that? Why can't that idiot over there, that Garcetti over there, see that? The more you cater to it, the more problems you're going to have. And more taxpayer money, down the drain. But what I'm wondering is what you're going to do when that recession comes, when there isn't any more money for this crap. The only ones I'm for helping are the ones that are aged out of the foster care system. This should not be. They should be able to take care of them until they're 21 and get them established somewhere. As for the other ones, they made poor choices, and now we're responsible for them.
Right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, move on with public communication. Good evening.
I was not going to talk today, but I'll respond to the gentleman. But first and foremost, thank you very much. I congratulate all of you for making the decision to expand the permits to whomever gets them. It'll benefit you greatly. To answer that gentleman, yes, homelessness is an issue, but he calls them these people, and these people have a soul and have opportunity. I will pledge to open up my first Nichan Technologies company here. You will soon find out. I am not yet certified, but I could use prefabricated steel structures and use my incredible panels to build homes. I will donate if you point in the right direction. I will donate a homeless shelter, whoever the gentleman went. I will pledge that. I am the CEO of the company. I have the funds, I have the will, and I'm very excited to come to this city. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that, sir. All right, move on with public communication. Oh, Christina, our librarian, LA County.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
council members, staff, residents of Baldwin Park. I'm Christina Larios, the library manager at the Baldwin Park Library. I wanted to tell you about a program we have coming up on Saturday, March 31st at 2 o'clock. If you all are interested in getting us started on your spring cleaning, we will have a professional organizer, Laura Ellis, coming to our library for a decluttering workshop.
Wow.
So
Okay.
hope you all can make it. Thank you. And
Thank
good
you very
evening.
much. And once again, Christina, thank you for your leadership. You're definitely an exemplary librarian that really deserves to be recognized for what you do for our community. Because a lot of compliments regarding you. So, you know what, before I forget, let's make sure we send a letter to the LA County, what's the name of the actual librarian from LA County?
Our director is Sky Patrick.
Can we make sure that we get that, please, and send a letter, Daryl,
What was
on
the
behalf
name
of the
again?
City
I'm sorry?
Council?
Sky Patrick.
Yes, because I just want to say that, Christina, you do a phenomenal job there, and I use that library to finish part of my master's, and again, you know what, the service and the amount of effort that goes into that particular library is incredible. So I want to thank you very much as well.
Thank you, Mayor, for your kind words, and
You're
it's an
welcome.
honor to serve this community.
Thank you very much. All righty. All right, so at this point, we'll open up. Anyone else wishing to speak on a public communication? Michelle, do you want to say something back there? Okay, I thought you were looking at the lectern. All right, so if not, at this point, we'll now declare the public communication closed. So at this point, council members?
Mayor, I just have a quick comment to make. I'd like to talk about some of the positive things that our staff does. All of our staff works very hard from our public works department, police department, and I can't share everything, but on our website we have a lot of the good things that our city does. So I just want you to look over here to your screens in front of you, and we have the, let me just turn mine on. If you look around the city right now, we're putting a lot of solar panels. We're doing it here at the Morgan Park and different parks throughout the city. We're doing also Baldwin Park energy efficiency upgrades. We are retrofitting 540 existing interior lighting fixtures with higher energy efficiency LED technology. We're installing new energy efficient controls for all air handling units in the city. We're replacing 8 existing electrical transformers with new energy efficient electrical transformers, and installing a new variable frequency drive to reduce circulation pump operating speed to reduce energy consumption while maintaining proper turnover rates. We're also replacing the community center HVAC rooftop units with higher efficiency and equal capacity. And I know a lot of people that use the community center. Sometimes it gets hot in there, but this will make it a lot more comfortable. We're installing new HVAC rooftop units at the community center basketball gym, which includes structural modifications to the building. We're installing photovoltaic solar panel canopies systems at Morgan Park, Barnes Park, and the city maintenance yard. Systems will be integrated to existing electrical systems. The total projected annual energy saving is $168,472, and this includes $105,247 from the solar alone. And that's it. So every time we have a meeting, I just want to talk about some of the work we're doing. If you go to the different parks, if you go to Barnes Park, you'll see that they completed the solar job there, and we're just trying to improve our community and spend our tax dollars wisely for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilman Ricardo Pacheco. At this point, I'm going to entertain a motion to move up the audit report, which is the, item number 15, the comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year 2016-2017. So that is my motion. Any objections? Seeing none, so move. All right, so at this point, the presentation will be by the Honorable Distinguished Rose Tran. All right, thank you. Let's get that mic on.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. And tonight we are going to present you the annual CAFR for fiscal year ending 2017. Annually, the Finance Department prepares and publishes the city's CAFR following the completion of an independent and certified audit. And this year's audit was done by Vasquez and Company, and they are here tonight and will present you a short PowerPoint to summarize this year's audit and CAFR. And Peggy is the firm's partner, and she's going to make the presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Rose and Peggy. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council and management. My name is Peggy McBride. I am the concurring review and quality control partner for the city's audit. With me is Christy Canieta, who is the partner in charge of the audit, and Marilyn Toledo, who is the manager on the audit. So if I need a lifeline, I have some people I can look to. Emphasis on short presentation. I'm just going to touch on the highlights, but I appreciate your time tonight. It is an important event, something that we have spent many months working on, and we're glad to share the results with you, which are generally very positive in nature. I'll start by just letting you know the scope of our engagement. This is a financial statement audit, so we didn't do a performance audit or a fraud audit. This is to ensure that your financial statements fairly present financial position and results of operations. We also performed a single audit, that's the audit of compliance for your federal program administration. We also test your GAN limit calculation to be sure that that's in compliance. And as needed throughout the year, we provide consultation. A little bit of a wordy chart here, but just to give you a general sense of the areas that we consider most important when we're performing the audit. We look, of course, at high account balances, areas that are sensitive. I mean, obviously, cash and investments is a liquid asset. It's a sensitive area. The city is wisely invested primarily in LAIF and Treasury notes, so no exotic investments there, which is appropriate for the city. We also look at your receivables to be sure that they are collectible and properly valued. We look at your capital assets to be sure that they, in fact, exist and are properly stated and your construction is accounted for correctly and so forth. We look at long-term liabilities. This includes things like bonds payable and your liability for pension and post-employment benefits, which is gaining more and more attention these days. And then finally, but frankly an area that's been in the news as much as any, we look at expenditures and payroll. And this is to be sure that when staff is spending money, that they're complying with your budget authority and they're complying with the procurement ordinances, and that the payroll that you are paying your employees is in fact at the rates that you approved and for the hours that are correctly charged. So that's kind of a very high-level overview of where we're really focusing our time. In addition to that, in overriding all of it, we do consider the possibility of fraud occurring. Misstatements of financial statements or theft is another example of fraud that could occur, abuse. And so with respect to that, we perform a number of procedures, one of which is to ensure we have an understanding of how your staff feel about the risks of fraud and their ability to report it. There are studies that say that the vast majority of identified fraud comes from a tipster. So we interview throughout your staff to be sure that people are comfortable and they know they have someone to talk to if they have a concern. We also interview management to see that they are appropriately managing the risks of fraud and understand what their processes are, and certainly some of you on the governing body as well, to understand your views with regard to how the city is managing its fraud. In addition to that, we perform certain computer-assisted techniques that allow us to upload all of the city's disbursement transactions and perform data analytics on those to see if they're being processed at night. Are we seeing duplicate payments? Are we seeing high dollar payments? All of that is part of the fraud awareness procedure that we perform, and I'm pleased to say that we did not identify any instances of fraud or any areas of undue risk that we need to bring to your attention tonight. Equally important, I would say, is the work that we do with respect to internal control evaluation, making sure that you have checks and balances in place and that you have appropriate separation of duties so that no single person can initiate a transaction and approve a transaction, and in essence asset your cash and investments all by themselves. So we do look at the control structure in place, to and including technology controls, to be sure that there are checks and balances in place. Technology in particular, as it shows here, we're looking at, of course, your data backup and recovery systems and your change management, but I think one of the biggest ones is the access controls. You can have the most perfect set of checks and balances that would exist, and yet if someone can come in and access your computer system and override those access controls, you've got a problem. So we look at that, and again, we have no exceptions to share with you in this regard.
Awesome.
With regard to the general ledger, and here again, the theory is that even though your transactions are processed properly, your payroll is paid on time and the right amount, and your expenditures are properly approved, it's still possible for a person to override all of that and make journal entries that would change the general ledger. If you can change the general ledger balance, for example, cash, you can show that the bank account reconciles when it really doesn't. So we have to look at all those machinations and journal entries to be sure that we see nothing that is improper. And we perform tests of those. We don't look at 100% of everything, but tests of those. And here too, we proposed some audit adjustments for the city to book, and they did. There were 8 adjustments this year, but we did not find anything that is an indication of an impropriety or any kind of an irregularity to share with you. I will say with regard to looks like maybe it was 9 audit adjustments. With regard to the audit adjustments, this year the city and the staff and finance department in particular were in the middle of implementing Tyler Encode system, a new accounting system. I was just telling Christy of how my daughter is getting ready for a wedding. It's almost as bad as getting ready for a wedding to try and implement a new accounting system. And I know it was a very busy time for them. They got through it, and everything was closed on time. The financials were completed. They were filed. All is well. But a few of the adjustments, I think, are just due to trying to deal with the year-end closing process when you're putting in a new system implementation. So the biggest part of the result that we report to you is whether we can give you an unqualified or unmodified opinion on the financial statements. In other words, in our opinion, do the financial statements fairly present your financial position and results of operations? And we think that they do. So you have the unmodified opinion, the best opinion that we can render for you. I mentioned that we evaluate internal controls, and we have a clean opinion in that area as well. No material control weaknesses or significant deficiencies to describe. Any questions before I make a couple comments on the federal audit?
I think your summary is excellent. Like obviously the areas and how the intricate information that you actually seek and kind of go over for any potential mishaps or inappropriation of the accounting. So appreciate that.
Thank you. There is a lot that goes into it. We do interim work in the spring. We come back in the fall, whether you're ready or not. Mm-hmm. And perform the procedures. So it's a good audit and with a good result this year. The single audit is the audit of the federal programs, and the major program, and this is based on a risk assessment that is performed, was the Section 8 program. And as we just heard the proud group that was up here in front of you, we also found that the program was in compliance with their requirements, and we are very pleased to be able to give a clean opinion, an unqualified opinion with respect to that program. We had one reportable comment on the program, which had to do with an isolated incident of a payroll transaction in which the allocated time was slightly different than the time on the timesheet. This was a matter of really education and training, and will be taken care of in the future, I believe. With that, I thought I'd just mention a few financial highlights. Now, the financial statements are for the year ended June 30, 2017, so they're a little stale at this point in time, but I thought a couple of overall comments might be of interest to you, and then we'll wrap up with what are our required communications as your auditor. First of all, the first two have to do with the general funds fund balance, which did in fact decrease in fiscal 17. The fund balance as well as the spendable fund balance both decreased. However, lest you become alarmed by that, the biggest reason for that is because of this nice presentation we just saw about the energy program and the state funding, which is lagging behind. So the expenditures were incurred, but the revenues to fund it were not recognized. So that's really the primary reason for that decrease. Otherwise, it would have been relatively flat from the prior year. In addition, we have the general fund's unassigned fund balance of $4.4 million, which represents 15% of your annual expenditures, which is a reasonable amount as is typically recommended for cities, and especially in addition to the fact that you have the budget stabilization fund balance as well. So you put the two together, and the city has come a long ways in the past few years in creating a stable environment from a financial standpoint. Two things that are causing most cities problem these days, and you will have to keep an eye on them too. One of them is the pension liability. The city's unfunded net pension liability is $45.9 million, and it did go up. That liability increased from the prior year by $10.3 million. This is primarily a factor of the interest earnings on the CalPERS investments. Not much you can do about that. Those adjustments to interest earnings are passed on you and amortized over time to keep the pension plan on a sound footing. But I think the Federal Reserve raised interest rates today. Maybe that will be helpful to you as we go forward in terms of dealing with this fluctuating liability. Similarly, there is an unfunded liability for the post-employment benefits of $43 million. That one also increased by about $2 million from the prior year and about $2 million from the year before that. So you will need to keep your eye on that, and that will be one of the challenges, to keep those two liabilities sufficiently funded. Happily, they don't have to be funded next year or over the next 5 years. It's a very long-term outlook that we have for the funding of those liabilities. This is just a depiction, and in fact, it's included in the city's comprehensive annual financial report, of the reserved and unassigned fund balance. The reason it's reserved and unassigned fund balance, I mentioned before, you have your available unassigned fund balance, not committed to anything or otherwise obligated, and then you have your budgetary reserve fund balance. So we added those two together, and that's what you see here. And you can see 2017 is on the far right there. It's a slight decrease from last year. But again, as I mentioned, this is primarily a timing difference, so relatively flat. And 2015 was a great improvement from the prior year, so things have looked better in recent years. That brings me to the management letter comments, and I'll touch on them briefly. They do not rise to the level of material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, and that is why we present them to management for management to deal with, as opposed to something for the governing body to be concerned with. However, we want to touch on them so that everything is fully transparent and you have an awareness of what they are. So I'll run through them very quickly. First of all, it would be wise for the city to develop and document month-end and year-end closing procedures. Some exist, but they're not complete, and with your new accounting system, they will be changing anyway. So this is a logical follow-on to a new accounting system. Secondly, updating the city's accounting manual, and that too is changing with a new system. Also this evening, I believe you have on your agenda a number of what are really the key areas in that accounting and policies and procedures system to review, so this comment's being dealt with very quickly. We appreciate that. The third item is very much related. This is focusing in on the credit card policies and procedures. Again, this is just an area where it's potential for abuse, and so we recommend that policy be updated, and it is being taken care of tonight, I think. Improving controls over receipts. So this has to do with looking at receipts throughout the city, some of the cash collection points. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't. This is a different one. This is having to look at receipts coming in to the departments and ultimately being forwarded to the finance or treasury function. The city needs to tighten their procedures to make those come forward more timely. If you leave checks out in a department, they're more apt to get lost, so that's what that has to do with. The next one, developing and implementing controls over off-site collections. This was suggested that we look into this by one of the council members here, and we appreciate the recommendation. It was a good one. We did find that there could be some stronger controls at some of the external departments where money is brought in, and especially better procedures, pre-numbered receipts, daily transmittal of deposits, and that type of thing. Number 6 is establishing procedures for booking fees. These are booking fees at the jail to be sure that you receive all the fee revenue that you're entitled to. And then finally, improving controls over manual checks, and this has to do with the manual checks that are written for housing assistance payments, and just to be sure that those are reviewed by the finance director or accounting manager or someone independent of the preparer of those checks. So all told, we have some suggestions. We have, the city has responded to them, management has responded to them, they have accepted them, and they're taking action to correct them. Next year when we come back, we'll let you know how that went and report the status. The required communications are just really to remind the auditor to tell you if anything came to our notice that we should share with the governing body. And so, for example, management's responsibility, we want to be sure it's clear that management is responsible for the financial statements and implementing internal controls, and they recognize that. We're not aware of any consultation with other accountants. There were no contentious issues that would require opinion shopping with other accountants. We had no difficulties in dealing with management. They were receptive to us and very responsive in meeting our requests. No disagreements over any accounting or other presentation matters. These city's accounting policies were were appropriate and consistently applied, and no controversial issues encountered in the course of the audit. I mentioned that we did have some audit adjustments, but management reviewed and accepted all of them and recorded them. And there were no conditions of our retention prior to us coming on board. We didn't promise anything as a result of being retained. Clearly, no irregularities, illegal acts, or fraud, or we would have advised you much sooner. And then finally, management has represented to us that they have disclosed to us all of the information we require, and they take responsibility for the financial statements. My very last slide is just to let you know that next year, which is right upon us, in fact, I think we come back in May for our interim work, there will be 2 changes to accounting pronouncements. The one that really concerns you will be the recording of the post-employment benefit liability that I talked about a minute ago. So that amount will be reported in your financial statements, and it will make that deficit in the statement of net position larger than it is now. And it will be there until it's funded over the next many years. It's something every city in the United States is dealing with. And then ultimately, GASB 87 will require the recording of certain leases that are presently considered to be operating leases. They'll be booked as liabilities. I don't think that will have a significant impact on you. I told the truth. That was the last slide. So I hope I haven't gone too fast, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them or deflect them if need be.
All right, Councilmember, yes, Cruz Baca.
I just want to thank you and thank our staff as well, because I know a lot of thought went into this and a lot of hard work, as always, with the different departments and everything. And thank you so very much for rectifying some of the questions that have been brought up about the credit card transactions and so forth that have been ongoing for a long time. Thank you. I really appreciate the wonderful presentation, because it was easy to understand.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, and one also compliment, as Councilman Cruz Baca did, and you covered it in excellent. This is probably the first time that the clarity is there and very understandable. So thank you very much. Looking forward. Alrighty. All right, council members.
Yeah, I just want to thank
Vice
you,
Mayor.
staff, for doing a good job in complying with all the requirements. But I also want to point out that in the financial condition overview, that there's 4 items that are recognized by this report. A lot of progress made in economic development. We have a new grocery outlet store that opened in July of 2016. The Metro Village project was completed and officially opened in October 2017. The new state-of-the-art Valley Fitness Center was open. And also we have a number of new developments. We have Waba Grill, Jersey Mike's, Chipotle, Coffee Bean, and Tea Leaf. So it just shows the health of Baldwin Park as we progress and we're moving forward, and we're in a strong financial standing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate the presentation. All right, so at this point, we'll go over to the consent calendars. Yes, and I'm going to pull. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and pull item number 5 and also item number 12. So there's some correction things that we need to place on there. Council members wishing to pull any other items? That's fine. That's fine.
12.
So I'm pulling out number 5 and 12.
Move approval of the other items.
Oh, hold on, council members, Cruz Baca, Councilmember Monica Garcia. Wow. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I'll
So at
second.
this point, there's motion by Vice Mayor Ricardo Pacheco and seconded by Councilmember Monica Garcia. So we'll go to item number 5, which is quick, the legal counsel. Let me just read this: the accounting related policies and procedures, and I believe there's something that we're going to legal counsel.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. I'd like to read into the record that the council has in front of them an attached purchasing policy and procedures as a revised final version that replaces the posted item number 5, attachment number 1. The attachment Exhibit A needed to be included in attachment 5 to the posted item number 5, and the corrected final version is available for anybody that needs it.
All right, thank you. So at this point, I'll make a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to move this
Vice
over
Mayor.
to the next meeting. I still want to review it. I know it's an important document, and if we're going to make any changes, I'd like to see it.
All right, so
I'm going to move it over to the next
You
meeting.
want to make a motion?
Make a motion to move to the next
Okay,
meeting.
there's a motion by Vice Mayor Ricardo Pacheco. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Monica Garcia. Any objections?
Yes.
Okay, Madam, thank you. There's an objection by Councilmember Cruz Baca. So at this point, I will ask the honorable and distinguished city.
I'll do it, Mayor.
Okay, our
Thank you.
city clerk Alejandra Avila.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Baca,
No.
Mayor Lozano.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes 3-1.
I have a question.
Yes, Councilman Cruz Baca.
Is this time sensitive? Rose, you're the one that put this on the agenda? Or did somebody, the reason I'm asking is if this is time sensitive, we brought it back. This is the 3rd time we bring it back. And I think that we need to move forward.
If the city council wants more time to review it, but I believe we should review and approve that by next council meeting, because the auditor just make the presentation, and this is one of the recommendation and requirement that they stated in the audit. And as long as we review it and approve it and put it in place and implement it, and I believe 2 more weeks is not going to be written up or worn by the auditors. As long as when they come back, they see us taking a reasonable time to prove it and implement it, then I believe it should be fine if we prove it next meeting. But we should not put it much longer.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember.
I just want to reiterate that, and I understand, Vice Mayor Pacheco, because I too have wanted to review things a second or third time. However, I do want to reiterate that these policies were put in motion by the Vasquez accounting firm because this is what they feel we should be doing in order for there to be policies and procedures in place that are in compliance with their suggestions as what they saw from reviewing everything. So I'm just reiterating, it can be brought back. I still think we should approve it, but I was outvoted. That's fine.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and move on. At this point, we're going to item 12, which is the ratify and adopt resolution approving the memorandum of understanding MOU between the City of Baldwin Park and the Baldwin Park Police Association, BPPA, and approve the resolution updating the pays schedule reflecting salaries, benefits adjustments in accordance with the CalPERS established guidelines. So, City Attorney is going to go ahead. You're going to enter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I'd like to read into the record that the City Council has before them a Baldwin Park Police Association Memorandum of Understanding in a revised final version that replaces the posted item number 12, Attachment 1. A revision was made to the training pay non-sworn employees section to include the word also on page number 13 of the attachment.
All righty. Okay, so at this point, I'll go ahead and make a motion to pass item 12.
I second.
Second by Councilmember Cruz Baca. Yes. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. Okay, congratulations.
Mayor, I'd just like to add that
yes.
wanted to thank staff. I know you guys worked very hard with the POA, and I want to thank the POA for your patience. I know this took a lot of time, a lot of going back and forth, but I think it's a great benefit to our officers and our city employees, and the community, because it really was a good compromise that we all made. I know there was a lot of things that were wanted, but we really came down to what was essential, and I think you guys got a good package for the next 3 years. I think it's also with some of your forward thinking that the POA did in terms of attracting new officers and some of the things that you wanted really made sense, and we implemented that, and hopefully we're a more competitive police department moving forward into the future. So I did sit with you. I heard you guys out. I thought it over. I know we all took our time with it, but I think at the end of the day, it's just something that's really good for the community and great for our police officers. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jason Adams, as well as Jenny Patino, Jose Barajas, and also Frank Varial, and all the ballpark police officers here. Oh, the chief as well. Thank you. Doug Parnell, acting chief. Thank you very much. All righty. Congratulations.
So can I say a few words?
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry, I just arrived. Just want to thank our POA. I know they work so hard, and I just want to thank them for the years of collaboration. I know that they're becoming a lot more involved, even though they already do so much work for us. You know, they've been very active with our trick-or-treat program, and so I just really appreciate how much they take care of our community. So I know that you deserve a lot more, so thank you for your patience, and we really appreciate your work. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Susan Rubio. All right, so at this point, yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca, sorry about that.
I'm just going to say that I'm looking forward to the Halloween and to the Christmas festivities. I gave someone a tour the other day and I showed them. They were very impressed with the activities that the police department and some of our Parks and Rec do with our community and how involved everyone is with our community. I was giving them a little tour of the parking structure and how it turns into like this big Halloween fest thing. They were very, very impressed. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Cruz Baca. All right, at this point, we'll go over to City Council acting as successor agency of the Community Consent Calendar. So at this point, we have successor agency to dissolve the Community Development Commission of the City of Baldwin Park's warrants and demands. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion, unless we have any reports on that. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to pass.
Mayor,
Yes.
excuse me.
Yeah.
If that's okay, before we go ahead, I don't have any objection about going ahead, but I would like some clarification as to how exactly is that governing body going to, how are we going to, is there any funding there that's going to be transferred, or is there anything that we need to look at in order to dissolve this? Or what's going to happen with existing committees or governing body members?
Okay. Rose, did you want to take that?
Yeah, I was.
Yes. After the dissolution law from the state and all the RDA agencies throughout the state of California, if they still have the existing projects or bonds and they need to continue to take care of that and until all the outstanding debts are paid off.
Okay.
And we will continue to every year, we prepare a very lengthy of a financial report and request the county to fund the outstanding debt based on the property tax that we receive from those project areas.
All right, thank you. Mayor, I'll second your motion.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman Cruz Baca. Thank you, Ms. Roll-Tramp. At this point, any objections? See none, so move. All right, the next one is the public hearing, item 13, which is a request for consideration of municipal zoning code amendment by ordinance to modify Chapter 127, commercial cannabis, by increasing the number of permits permitted from 15 to 25. All right, so at this point, before council members, we get on the actual mics themselves, it's a public hearing, so I will open it up for those that oppose. So if anyone is opposing the increase of the cannabis, this is a time to speak. You have approximately 3 minutes. Please state your name. And it has to be strictly conversation directly on the actual subject of the cannabis.
Oh, got to make sure of that. Yeah, you're going to open up and have more permits. I'm sure you've outlined the rules on this. It can't be within 600 feet of anything that is sensitive. That's in a radius, not a straight line. It's two different things. Straight lines from here to there. Radius is a circle for those of you that don't know what that is. So if there's anything in there within any of these people's buildings that they've rented already or are about to, they need to make sure those guidelines, the city can't overrule the state, just like the state can't overrule the federales, the federal government, with its sanctuary stuff. So the feds have the last word. This is a cash business. They can't put money in the banks anywhere because it's not allowed. I wonder what they're going to do if Jeff Sessions comes to town and starts seizing people's assets for this, what I consider illegal activity. I have a lot of health problems, a lot of aches and pains. I've never used marijuana or cannabis or anything like that, and I'm getting by just fine without it. So you're just, and I'm wondering also too is, how are they going to know when people are high and driving around and crashing into people and things like this? Who do you sue? Do you sue the state? Do you sue the city where the stuff came from? Who gets sued? Because you know there's always lawsuits and things mixed up in there. The attorneys are hot on the trail all the time. Well, I got another minute or so. So you're just opening another can of more cans of worms with this. And I know you want more licenses so you can get more campaign contributions. That's generally what it comes down to. Right? We know who the three who always vote the same way are. So when you pass it, it's no surprise. You vote the same way every time. It was 3-1 this last time only because Susan Rubio wasn't in the room. It would have been 3-2. So you go on ahead with this. You're going to do it anyway, just like you're going to go on with other things and do it anyway. You don't care about the residents here. You say you do, but your actions in other cities, the same thing. They say they care about their residents too, but they don't. They care about what's in it for themselves. They keep voting things in, and you run over the other two council people. They don't ever have a chance to pass anything because you three gang up on them. So,
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate that, sir. All right, so at this point, move along with anyone wishing to speak opposing the increase of the cannabis. All right, so at this point, I will now open it up for those that are in favor. So you're welcome to come up. You have approximately 3 minutes. All right, see no interest, I now declare the public hearing closed. Council members have any comments at this point? Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
If I could follow after her.
Yeah, okay, it's fine.
I would like to pull this over to the second meeting in April because I really think that we need to consider tier 1 and 2, and also to look at the permits that we have now and give planning or whoever's going to be approving the sites. There are a lot of sites that are still in question that have not been approved. There are some people that are bringing to my attention that they may have to move because they may not be able to be in the particular buildings or the addresses that they applied for. I think that we need to look at the permits we have now and to really get that off the ground and consider tier 1 and 2 very seriously so that we can move forward with a lot of the people that applied and did it in a timely manner and have been spending money renting facilities, and then look at adding more of the tier 3 and bring it back to the second meeting in April. But I really would ask for my fellow council members and you, Mayor, to take a look at tier 1 and 2. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Cruz Baca. At this point, Vice Mayor Ricardo Pacheco.
Yes, Mayor, I just have a couple of concerns. One is I would like to see staff come up with a plan as there's more buildings, just in general throughout the city. There's a lot of buildings, new buildings that are going on. And then you have cannabis that is also either renovating their buildings or building new buildings, to make sure that there's a process that, we get over this hump of a lot of work that's coming through. And maybe you come back with a report as to how you're going to handle sort of all the new plans that are coming through and inspection work that needs to be done. But I'm in favor of continuing to increase to the number of 25 and evaluate as we go along, and later on look at numbers at other types of permits. But for now, I would approve item 13 as staff recommends.
All right, thank you. There's a motion by Councilmember Vice Mayor Ricardo Pacheco to move with the proposed 25 cannabis. Is there a second?
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember. Yes, Cruz Baca.
It was not specific on this. Is this strictly for tier 3, or are we including tier 1 and 2?
No, this is, if you read it, it's strictly for tier 1 or tier 3.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so at this point, is there a second?
Mayor, I'll
Yes,
second that.
alrighty.
And I think that, it is important to consider the tier 1 and 2 as well. I think right now we're pretty much on a trajectory with tier 3, and the question that I have is, of the approvals that we issue, how many of these businesses are going to make it?
Yeah.
And so there's a certain revenue stream that we anticipate for the city. And so I'm in favor of increasing these permits. And in fact, early on, I was in favor of approving all who met the city's criteria, for the reason that a percentage of these businesses will actually survive. And it could be for location, it could be for a number of reasons. So I support this idea, and then I also want to express support, for continuing to explore as we have the tier 1 and tier 2.
Okay.
But I'll second.
Any objections?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, there's one objection registered, so at this point we will have Alejandra Avila do a roll call. Yes. All right, thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Baca?
No.
Councilmember Rubio?
Yes.
Mayor Lozano?
Yes, okay, motion passes 4-1. And just want to let everyone know, yes, there is 25. However, we're not certain at this point. I mean, well, some confidential stuff we probably can't release anyways. There's 15, of course, and there are those that probably won't make it through. From my understanding, in Colorado, the actual success rate is between 18 and 20%, so it's really not that high. So, of course, bringing up this particular number, hopefully will get a good portion of them to succeed. And so it's not an overnight type of success. It takes time, so wishing everyone the best, because it is competitive, understand that, and it takes a lot of money to be able to get in this particular business, and we know that. And of course, we're probably the first city in the San Gabriel Valley to actually introduce this particular type of, the cannabis in general, ahead of other cities in the San Gabriel Valley. And of course, the long-term success for the city ballpark is, our projection has been about $3 million, and we hope we reach that. Of course, if there are more more businesses that will succeed, then of course we're probably looking at a higher projection. But that has been the original proposal projection for the city ballpark, that we at least make $3 million. Of course, that in turn would be invested in our community, whether it be law enforcement, streets, street lights, and what have you. And it's important for us to be able to do that. And once again, let me make it very clear: dispensaries in ballpark are not part of this whole deal. This is not. We're not going to be selling any type of cannabis in Baldwin Park. That here you're going to manufacture, you're going to cultivate, and it goes out. And there's nothing no stores are going to open up in Baldwin Park as it refers to dispensaries. So I want to make that very clear.
Mayor?
All right. Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I just want to explain that I am a strong believer in business. I just feel that at this time our staff has not had a chance to be able to really give a chance to the permits that we already gave out. But I also believe in small business. The city of Baldwin Park was built on small and family businesses. And I really think that the city's my council members are making a mistake by not allowing tier 1 and 2. And whether you say in the future, there were a lot of people that applied in good faith that later qualify for tier 1 and 2, and for them not to be allowed to come into the city to do business, I think is wrong, because small businesses have been the backbone of America. So that's still my opinion. I think that we need to look at what we have right now and take a look at what are we going to do with these permits, and how are we going to okay these buildings? How are we going to okay the building out of this business? And can we hold all of this and be fair to all the businesses that are already paid? Thank you.
And very, very well said. And I just want to also add another area is, will you find some of these warehouses? I know there's some that are currently exist here, but we may not be able to fulfill all the 25 because there's a lack of warehouses out there. Let's be clear about that. There is really not much as of these particular types of complex dwellings throughout Baldwin Park. So that's another thing that we have to look at. But we'll see where it goes from this point. All right. So at this point, So at this point we're going to.
Motion was made and passed.
But there was an objection.
You did a roll call, right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and guess. At this point, I guess we'll also add to it that we'll be processing applications, right? Or do we want to do it in the second reading?
We will prepare for that and have that ready as soon as the second reading is complete.
So that will probably be the following meeting. Well, we're probably looking at April.
April 5. Mayor, just so we're clear, there's the existing applicants that didn't get permits, and then we're opening for new ones. Is that what you're saying? Or?
Yes, for new ones as well. Yes.
Is that in the ordinance?
You know what? We city legal counsel. So we want current, existing, and new ones.
The ordinance has never identified when the application process is opened or when it's closed.
Okay.
That's a policy decision by the city council. It's not an ordinance. And if the city staff were to receive direction to reopen the application process, you can do it that way. It doesn't need to be in the ordinance.
Okay, all right, then that's fine. It'll be open. All right, so at this point, there was a motion. Second, of course, the vote ended up with a 4-1. All right, so we look forward, again, with the businesses that are here. All right, at this point, we'll go over to the request for consideration of municipal zoning. No, we did that one already? 13, 14, we're going to 14. But by the way, we forgot, let me go back. We did 14, was it 14? Number 15, let's go back on this. I'd like to make a motion to pass the comprehensive annual financial report. We forgot. So that is my motion.
Second.
Who seconded it?
Fine.
Oh, Councilman Cruz Baca. Any objections? See none, so move. All right. Did we get that, City Treasurer, City Clerk? And okay, thank you very much. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, that's
we
fine.
do have to include in here that the policies and procedures is going to be brought back, because that's a part of this presentation.
Okay. All right. All right. So we'll go ahead and let's go ahead and amend that. Is that a motion?
Well,
it's already on there.
You did the motion that
Okay.
we go ahead and approve the comprehensive annual, but we have to bring back the policies and procedures.
Got it. That's right. It was mentioned already. We'll include that. All right, so at this point, we'll go over to item 14, which is a request for consideration of recommendations of approval by the Planning Commission to the City Council on multiple achieve consistencies between the general plan, land use maps, and zoning maps for the specific plan 13-01, Rome Project, Ramona Boulevard, and Bogart Street, specific plan 14-01, Indigo Project, and the downtown transit oriented. So at this point, the Honorable and the Distinguished Amy Harbin.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council members. Back in 2002, the city completed a comprehensive general plan update, and at that time, we updated all of our required seven elements and 3 others. Typically, after a comprehensive general plan update, we update the zoning code, which we did, and we implemented that in 2012. However, recently, when we contracted with one of our consultants, MIG, to review our zoning map for consistency between our zoning designations and our general plan land use designations, we found that there were some inconsistencies amongst the specific plans that we've adopted since 2012. And there's about 4 specific plans that we've adopted since 2012. The Rome Project, which is right behind us, the Indigo Single Family Residential Project at Merced and Baldwin Park Boulevard, the Downtown Transit Oriented Specific Plan, and then the Pacific Via Specific Plan, which is currently under construction on Pacific Avenue. As a result of this review, there's about 100 or so parcel that needs some type of change, either a zone change to be consistent with the general plan land use designation or vice versa. It's really important to keep in mind with this that all zoning and general plan land use changes indicated in the staff report are not new actions. They're cleanup. They're cleanup and map edits to previously adopted specific plans, which review and approval has already been completed, and some of the projects have already been completed, or they're either under construction. So at this time, staff and the Planning Commission are recommending the City Council open the public hearing, and following the public hearing, 1, adopt City Council Resolution 2018-230 entitled A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park adopting the findings of fact and approving general plan land use amendments to achieve consistency, and the location for that are specific plans SP 1301, SP 1401, SP 1501, SP 1601. The applicant's the City of Baldwin Park, and the case number is AGP 119. And introduced for first reading by title only and waive further reading Ordinance 1409, entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park adopting the findings of fact and approving zoning designations on properties within specific plan areas which are consistency edits that have been previously approved by the City Council. The locations are specific plan SP 1301, 1401, 1501, and 1601. The applicant's the City of Baldwin Park, and the case number is Z556. And this concludes staff's presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Council members have any questions?
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Monica
Continue
Garcia.
this item so that I can understand it a little bit more. I mean, there are a lot of parts to this, it sounds like, and I want to know kind of where the inconsistencies were. So that would,
Right.
I would request that we continue the item and get,
Okay,
more of a study session.
All right,
on
so
it.
I'll go ahead and second. Any objections? Okay, we're going to move this over. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Could we have a study session so that we can
Yeah,
understand it?
yeah. What I want to do this. Let's have a study session. All right, thank you
Do we
very
need
much.
to open the public hearing, Mayor?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. So at this point, anyone wishing to speak in regards to this particular subject on the zoning, I'll open it up for those that are in favor. Anyone opposed? See none. All right, the public hearing is closed. Thank you very much for that, Alejandra Avila, our city clerk. All right, so at this point, we'll go over to...
Mayor, just
Yes.
going back to that other
Vice Mayor.
item, a question for Amy.
Yes.
When we do these zoning changes, at the very border of these zoning changes, there's typically some property owner that gets caught in between residential and industrial, and somehow the lines get blurry, and we put them into the wrong place. Did you guys kind of look at that sort of thing?
Not with this one, what MIG did is they took our adopted zoning map and they got the GIS information from the county and they overlaid it. And everything is consistent with the exception of these 100 or so properties that are within the existing specific plan areas.
Okay, what can we do? I mean, is there a possibility that somebody got So, for example, there was an owner that had a industrial property, but it kind of stuck out in the middle of residential. And when we did the last zone change, he got marked as residential, and then he couldn't sell his property later, and this became an issue. This is a while back.
Without
Those
knowing the
types of things.
specifics, I can't really comment. Right now, like I mentioned, everything except within these specific plan areas have consistent zoning and general plan designations.
Okay, well, we'll sit down and talk about it. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Any other questions? If not, at this point, we'll go to well, we did 15 already. So we're going to go over to the requests by Councilmember. The first one we have by Councilmember Susan Rubio, direction for staff to start a planning process for aging members of our community, covering topics such as transportation, housing, and in-home care. Councilmember Susan Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor.
You.
Yeah, this is an issue that I think we're not necessarily prepared to handle. I know Baldwin Park has one of the greatest, I would say, facilities for the aging population. However, some of the statistics that are coming out are showing that the baby boomer generation is growing at twice as much as any other population, and they're anticipating a lot of issues that we're going to be facing. And I would like to propose that we have a master plan that addresses a lot of the arms of the situations that they're discussing. They're discussing transportation issues. A lot of the times we do have a lot of seniors that own homes, but at this point they've lost their significant other, their husbands, and most of their children are out, have moved, or gone to college, so they don't have the ability to have someone take them to the doctors or those types of services. So we need to make sure that we figure out how we're going to address the transportation issue. We have to also figure out how we're going to address access to health care. By way of example, we know Lilith, who recently passed. She was 100, and she had her son taking care of her. She was bedridden. If she had not had that son, she would have been sitting there by herself months out. She couldn't move at all, and if she depended on her son. My point is that if we're not looking out for this population, we're going to have a lot of aging seniors at home by themselves without services. So I would like to, again, propose a master plan where we start talking about transportation, access to health care, and we do have enough now aging facilities, but we're going to be in need. They're talking about in 20 years from now, they're going to double in size, and so we need to be prepared to handle that. So if we can move forward with that, I would ask that, Shannon, we explore how we can bring a committee together to figure out some of the issues that we're going to be facing. And that would be my proposal, and I hope that I get support for that.
Mayor would...
Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca. Yes.
Just to, I guess, give legal counsel direction, I would like to see what the legal ramifications are for us to be able to go into someone's home. Recently, it was on the news that I believe that there are two sheriffs in Northern California that are being sued by a family because when the lady started to age, she befriended, because the sheriffs would come to her home all the time, she befriended one of the female officers, and she signed over a power of attorney to her. She asked to be sent to the Philippines, and she passed away in the Philippines. And there's a big lawsuit going on right now because the family in the Philippines are saying that the lady was not a right mind or mental stability to be able to have made those decisions, and that the sheriffs took advantage of her. So I would really like to see, what the legal ramifications are for someone to be able to take over something like that with someone that's ill or in their home or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. And Councilmember Baca, are you referring to city employees, what the legal ramifications would be as it relates to
Yes, city employees, if they go into a home when they hear that somebody is bedridden, or what is it, how can we go about it? I piggyback off of what Councilmember Rubio said, but only taking it a step further to make sure that our staff or our police officers can walk into that home at that particular time.
Okay.
So I want to, I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
And I just want to add to that. And also the data also shows that there is an increase, a spike in the senior scammers, and that's precisely what's happening. They're going to find these individuals that are vulnerable by themselves, and they're having them not only, sign all their savings over, but they're losing millions sometimes, and they feel that these individuals are going to help them. But that's my point. If we don't address it and figure out a way to not only educate this population or have a system where we can at least provide services or have a system in place that we can stop some of those scams, I think that that's what we're going to continue to see, where seniors are being scammed. And unfortunately, they're vulnerable, and some of them are losing their mental capacity to make decisions on their own. And so we have to figure that out. So thank you for bringing that up. But yes, if we can move forward with a master plan that we can look at all this and with detail, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right, so at this point, also establish a city partnership with school districts in an intervention program for returning veterans and for students' regard to education, employment, and housing. Councilmember Susan Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, we're finding a lot of the time, so we already know there's a crisis in terms of job availability. We know there's a crisis in terms of funding for education, and we already know that those problems exist, but I would like to be more specific with some of our returning veterans. My proposal is not necessarily geared to the veterans that are coming back, because sometimes they're capable and able, but then there's a population that's been out of the Army or the Marines for a little while, and we're talking about 25 to 30, and they end up out of a job, and they end up out on the street. And so my hope is that we can create a partnership with the school district. I've seen other programs up and down the state that work where they partner and they subsidize some of the schooling for these individuals. And I think if someone serves our country, at the very least, we can help educate them. I think of my brother who's currently serving overseas in Qatar, and we need to do better by our veterans. And so again, that number is growing from 25 to 30 of individuals who had a job but end up without a job, and they have to be retrained or re-educated. And I think it would be ideal if we can talk to the school district, if they can subsidize half of it and we subsidize half of it, figure out how we can get funding. I also know through some of the agencies that there's a lot of grants out there. And so one, diligently pursue those grants so that we can take care of our veterans, and two, make sure that the district is partnering with us in that respect. So that's one arm of it. I don't know if anybody has comments on that issue in particular. There's also another issue that's happening, and we just had the summit on homeless. And lately we're finding out that there's so many kids that are homeless that are going to school, coming from sleeping in a car to the classroom. And that's so unfortunate, because these families find themselves without being thrown out, and they need to continue to go to school. So what's happening is we have a high dropout rate, not necessarily here, but in many other districts, where they're dropping out because they lose their homes, clearly the crisis in the housing, but they lose their homes, and then they end up moving around and they become transient. So these kids are at disadvantage because they go from district to district and they end up losing some of the credits that they've earned in their home district. And I think we heard our district talk about that issue in particular yesterday, that's what's happening. They never recover and they end up dropping out. So I've seen things that could work. For example, I want to see, Shannon, if we can call agencies like Lyft and Uber and partner with these agencies, because I know that they've done it for cancer patients, where now they're offering rides to cancer patients. They'll go to their houses and pick them up and take them to the treatment. So I think if we can figure out a way for them to also help us transport these kids that end up homeless. I mean, one day they could be here in Baldwin Park, the next day they could be in City of Industry or Almani, and so we can figure out a way where maybe we can partner and they can go pick up our students and take them to school every day, at least until the families can figure out their situation. I think that would be ideal, because those kids never recover from the disparity in terms of going, having a home and having good grades. So I really want us to look into that. And I think Uber right now and Lyft, they've been doing a lot of philanthropy, and they want to be seen as good partners, and so I think that they would be willing to do it. So I hope that, again, that I can get support in that respect.
All right, thank you. Councilmember.
Go ahead. If anybody has come, because I have one more item.
No, I think it's great. Manny, we still continue to have the fraud type of classes for the seniors, right? On an annual basis? I know I've attended several.
Yes, we do.
Okay, that and some of the assisted living programs and things of that nature that's covered annually?
Yes, we partner with various agencies throughout the community.
Let's see how we could incorporate this, because I think it's important to be able to move on this. Of course, I'm a baby boomer, and I think all of us up here, no, with the exception maybe.
I object to that.
You and I are baby boomers.
I'm a way baby.
Yeah, I'm there.
I want to object to that one.
But nevertheless, it's important because, yes, we do obviously see that population. So let's see what we can do to be able to incorporate with the current programs and then, put this right through there as well.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember
And I think
Cruz-Baca.
that's very important because I've heard it from even some of the ladies from the Women's Club that have gotten that phone call that a lot of people have gotten where your relative is stuck somewhere and they need $1,000 and please wire it right away. But recently I heard from one of my neighbors that someone had knocked, she's an older lady like myself, and she said that somebody had knocked at her door and that they said that someone had called so that they could do some roofing repairs. And she said she had never called them. They were very persistent. And before they left, they said that they wanted at least a couple of $100 because they had come from Pasadena or Altadena or somewhere, and that they needed some type of compensation because they had driven all the way. And so she said, no, I'm not going to give you anything. I'm going to call my son first. And they left. So maybe that's something that I've heard from other people, that there are scams in other cities like that where someone says that they're coming to repair something because somebody called them. So that's another problem.
Excellent subject to bring up.
Okay, and one last thing, Mayor, is that I want to see if we can start mobilizing on jobs that we're going to be providing to our community. I know that when the cannabis came to, the discussion started, one of the reasons that a lot of us, were inclined to support it was because, we thought clearly there was going to be revenue for our public safety and other programs, but in particular because there is a crisis in terms of housing and jobs. And so there was a lot of promises for jobs. In particular, there was a company that got a monopoly with the promise that they were going to bring union jobs. And I have not seen any movement in that respect. We need to see where, we need to start figuring out how we're going to have a job fair, make sure that we're offering it to our residents, which again was one of the promises. We need to I want to just see a little bit movement in that respect. Where are the applications? Are we advertising with our community? When are they going to start? When can our community expect to apply? Because at least now we know there's a timeline, right? And that company in particular, we have all these other operators that are going to start operating. So at some point, they're going to need employees. And again, they came in with the promise that they were going to provide good union paying jobs. So I want to see that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. All right, at this point, yes, Vice Mayor Ricardo Pacheco.
Just kind of along those same lines, I think we need to help some of these cannabis operators to move forward with their planning process. Their engineering drawings need to come to the city and get approved. And I just want to make sure that the city, and again, I said this earlier, but that we have a process to be able to get through all these and review all the drawings and make sure inspectors are out there and do everything we can, and so that we're not holding up the cannabis operators from getting up and running and then hiring people to work in the cannabis industry. So I'm hearing from cannabis operators that there is some sort of not a lot of help from the city, that they're being stalled. So let's see what we can do if staff can get out there, find out what the needs are, and just kind of move forward. I'd like to get just an update from the staff where the permittees are in the process, how soon they think they'll open, what else we could do to kind of help out in that process. And then also, if you could just kind of give us an update on if they're all making their permit fees to the city. Also, within that, also just like to consider that when we do our mid-year budget, that we take a look at that future cannabis revenue and see how we're going to spend it back on the community and what type of projects we can do within the community, whether it's fixing streets, upgrading lights, whatever the community needs, making street monuments throughout the city so people have better direction to where they're going, and just really improving the city. And I think that we owe it to the community to start to, this new revenue that's coming in, that we start to spend it back in the community and let them know we're doing what we can to improve our community with this new funding source that we have. And also, if staff could consider, because this revenue may not come in this fiscal year, but the next one, if we could possibly look at doing a 2-year budget, and that way we could plan better with this new revenue as it comes in. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes,
and my last
request
or comment, rather, even before we started the cannabis discussion, one of the things that I've presented and moved forward with and was agreed upon was a safety plan. Early on, we discussed, well, at least I discussed how I felt some of the burden was falling on some of our dispatchers, and they already were overworked, and we discussed at least trying to bring a plan where we have a designated area where we would have those cameras placed somewhere else. We talked about just a safety plan in general for our community, for our areas, and I haven't seen that, and it's been a little while, so I want to see that safety plan as soon as possible, at least start getting some special meetings going, but as of now, I haven't had any information, and we've already given out some permits, and so I think that's the most important, and that is public safety. And unless I see a plan, I'm really concerned that we are not thinking ahead. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Cruz
I
Baca.
have a question for legal counsel in regards to the safety. It wasn't part of the application or the agreement that they had in part of their plan, which was the schematic or the plan of their business or their building. Didn't that also have to include some type of cameras or safety?
It did. They are required to have cameras in the entire building, covering every square foot of the building is what that includes. And they included that, I believe, in their safety plans.
Okay, so I want to piggyback off of what Councilmember Rubio said. I think that I would like to see a little more expanded of a plan of not only our police department, but our different parks and rec and so forth, where there's parks or facilities that are near the cannabis cultivation or where the businesses are going to be, so that we can see where are they going to be putting cameras or whatever for the safety of the people as they're coming in and out once they start transporting or whatever, or bringing equipment in, so that we can see and have a safety, I think, for our residents as well.
And Councilmember Baca, are you talking about the individual buildings to see what's going to happen at each individual building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the surrounding areas. And the surrounding, radius, I guess, of so many feet of surrounding the business.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. At this point, before we close the city council, I want to also look at Sam. See if we could place a street light on Wana. Is it Wana Creek? I believe it is. Off of Puente Avenue, where you have the Harley Davidson dealership off of Garvey. Go further. I think. Let me get the street. Trying to cross it there. That's dangerous. Went over there because the residents had called me, so I went in that particular area just to really. I don't know if you know. Well, let me get the exact address. It's where we have that strip mall. Ends up. You have that Arco in the corner, and then you have the strip mall. That street, I believe it's Walnut Creek. Yeah, that is Walnut. Okay, Walnut Creek, right there. Probably that's a dangerous place for vehicles trying to exit there. I mean, so I guess a couple of residents were, well, more than a couple that were there last Saturday, and I went out there, and let's take a look and see what the cost would be to put a signal light in that area. Okay, if it's feasible.
Yeah, we will take a look at that. So it's Walnut Creek and Puente?
And Puente, yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
Mayor? Okay.
Yes, traffic. Yes, go ahead.
And also, if Public Works, if you could look at right there by Kaiser Hospital, I think it's called Best Street. Yeah. It's, what is it, maybe on the south side of it? You come down Baldwin Park Boulevard and you go around Kaiser. And there's residents on one side and the hospital parking on the other. Right there on the resident side, it just, it's very blighted. There's just, there's no landscaping. It's all just, very, dirt and broken down concrete and block wall. So can we take a look at, and I believe that piece is probably the city's, but what can we do to make it look better? And I say that because those that come out of Kaiser, outside visitors, that's the first thing they look at, and it looks, it doesn't look good for our city. So we could see what we can do to improve that stretch of the city. And second, we used to have a park along the freeway, I think it's Garvey, right next to the big parking lot structure from Kaiser. And then Caltrans took it over and they did their work, but they've abandoned it. Now there's like a big hole there. So can you get back to, I don't know who owns it now, maybe it's still Kaiser, but let's kind of get that landscaped again and bring it back up to, because that's a site from the freeway. They look at it, and let's see if we can't make that improvement there.
Okay. So that site is currently owned by Caltrans, but they have approached us because they want to relinquish it to us.
Okay, how long will that take?
Where's that? Where?
That's where that the shoe. Where the shoe horse is, or the what is that? Broken Horn.
Broken Horn. Yeah,
right in front of Broken Horn.
Yeah. Does Kaiser want to buy it?
No, I think we just want to.
Caltrans is looking at relinquishing it to us, and we'll follow up with them, and if they do that, then we can basically own it, maintain it, and reinstate it as a strip park.
Yeah.
Right,
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Mayor, may I say
Yes,
something?
thank you.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm sorry, and I apologize because I had a conflict in my schedule, and we normally close before we start our council meeting, so correct me if someone already did it. I wanted to close on behalf of Brisetta's sister. Did we close on her behalf?
Yes. The last
Okay. And also, Cynthia Skirnquist's mother just passed, the council member in Temple City.
Yes,
We closed on her behalf. And also, there's a lady, her name is Gloria Duran, who's been such a big community activist. She's the mother of John Duran, the council member of the city of Hollywood, but she lives in Santa Fe. And so she's been an activist for so many years, and also she passed last week. So we can close on them and send them our condolences. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
And I know, Sam, you're very busy, but I've had a few complaints. I don't know if this was put in effect during the traffic study at the LA Fitness. Now that all the restaurants are open there, during lunchtime, I've had complaints that it's very difficult to come out of that parking lot and make a left because we have people exiting from the freeway and the people turning right from Francisquito. So when they're there having lunch, trying to exit and make a left, it's almost impossible. So I don't know if you can look into that to see. I know there's 2 streets in that little section. I don't know if maybe a stop sign can be put in one of those so they can have access to get out of that parking lot because they're taking a long time. And I heard the complaint from a lot of school district employees because they're going there a lot. So they're having a hard time getting out.
Right. You know, okay, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's
it's busy.
You know what? The error we probably made is not requiring LA Fitness to install a signal light because boy, that's heavy traffic in that area. Absolutely, definitely. So, hey, well, look, cannabis is coming to town, so we're going to get signal lights and new streets and everything. That
I'm sorry, Sam. I know you're busy, but it's crazy there.
I've actually heard the same complaint. I eat there as well, so I know how it is. We recently painted the Keep Clear legend on it, so that at least if there's a lot of traffic coming on the freeway and the stoplight, that area will be clear to turn. But we can look into installing a stop sign.
Yeah, coming out of the parking lot to make a left. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say a stop sign, a signal.
We can definitely do a warrant study. But now I think that there's a parcel there that's going to be developed. Maybe we can.
A what?
Yeah. So there's a parcel in there
right across
the street.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So we can ask them to do the signal.
Good idea.
Study. So.
All right. Thank you very much. And let me just one last one before we end. Yes. You go along Big Dalton and then you end up with the Caltrans wall. I don't know why you have those. Why? Because of the water. You have all these opening like they're gutters. Mm-hmm. You know, they should close them up. It doesn't make sense. It went to the neighboring city. They don't have that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
And there's just garbage that accumulates in that area.
Okay. Yeah, that is a low point in that area, right at Big Dalton.
Right.
And that is a drainage from the freeway, and it goes into the storm drain.
It doesn't make sense. You know what we should do somehow is place what we've done in the others so that those steel or metal
like covers.
Yeah, covers. Please put those on because I'll tell you, it looks very nasty. I saw a possum going there the other day, which so I'm just saying that there's probably all kinds of creatures that traverse across through there, right. But it looks nasty.
Okay.
All right, and one last one, 99-cent store. That complex, someone, Mr. Romo or whomever, let's get them because it's dirty all the time again. And I don't know what we can do. We need to, the 99-cent store over here where we have Church's Chicken and all that.
Right.
Yes, we need to definitely send them a message. I know we've cited them before. They have to clean that place up somehow. God, I don't understand that part.
Mayor, I was going to just say, because I remember we've been trying to find them and sue them for like 12 years. I mean, we have to explore something different because they'd rather pay the fine than clean up the place, which is unfortunate. But we have to see if we can ask legal counsel this. Is there anything else we can do? It's been about 12 years we've been trying to sue them, and they don't listen. So let's figure something out. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So at this point, I will move for adjournment of the city council meeting.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. All right, at this point, I'd like to open up the Finance Authority. So what we have here is the consent calendar treasurer, and my motion is to approve.
Second.
Second.
Second. Any objections? Seeing none, so move. This one I'd like to move for adjournment of the Finance Authority. That's my motion. Any objection? You object? Oh, okay, all right, so at this point, we'll move on. All right, at this point, I'd like to open up the Housing Authority, and we have consent calendars 1 and 2. That is my motion.
Second.
Any objections? At this point, I'd like to move for adjournment of the Housing Authority. That is my motion.
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, so move. At this point, I'd like to move for adjournment, and good evening. All right, Viva Baldwin Park. Second, no objections. All right, good night. Oh, hold on. Carrillo, make sure I don't forget to give you this. Hey, take your books, you guys. What's that? Yeah, you know what? What do I need? You know, I don't think I need nothing. If it accumulates, then I'll throw it out. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, by the way.